Hi, welcome back. So, quickly, before we do anything else, I'm just going to delete these fellas here. Because we haven't set up the pivots. Well, I haven't for the first toe. If you did, excellent, well done, give yourself a shiny. Now, what I'm going to do is just grab this, and if I go over here to my hierarchy panel, click Effect Pivot Only, and then just use my Move tools, I can move this to where I believe this should be. And I can do the same here with this one too. Press F4 if you want a kind of polygonal view of this. I don't need to change these ones because really they're in the right place in my opinion. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up a hierarchy as well. So I'll turn off Effect Pivot Only. Reason being that if I move one, I'd like to be able to move all of them. So start with these two, and I'm going to just link those to this. Then from this I'm going to link it to that, and that's basically it. It's the entire job done. So now it means that if I move this, then not you, everything moves. Yep, good. Okay, now what I need to do is make some copies of this. Now you notice you can't just shift and drag the head of a hierarchy, you have to drag everything simultaneously. So top viewport, going to zoom out a bit and just use my rotate tool, obviously making sure I've got angle snap on. If I haven't, then I'm going to hit the letter A. Okay, and now with both these selected, just rotate them in one direction like that. Okay, and that gives us now plenty of scope for what we can do next. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with part of this. So convert to editable polygon. Okay, and this will become our foot base. So there we go, foot base. And I'm going to hide some of these parts because I don't really need to see all of them. Right click, hide selection, and away it goes. So that just leaves me with this. Now go to my top viewport, and I'm going to get rid of half of it straight off. Hit delete, and I'll get rid of the top and the bottom polygons as well. Come into my zoom, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. So I want these 6 here. So that one's and that one's. The other that ones I don't really need. So I shall Control I and delete. And you may be wondering why I'm doing it this way. Well, to be honest, it kind of makes a lot more sense doing it this way. It'll be easier to show you shortly, I promise. Now, what I'm going to do is let's go into here and do a connect, and here and do a connect. Okay, and that'll just divide these polygons like so. And I don't think I really need all of these, so I'm just going to hold down Control and get rid of some of them. Like that, and then Control backspace, and that deletes them. And you'll see them slowly vanish, as if they were never there. I don't know why Autodesk's obviously spent ages doing this weird slowly vanish thing, but fair enough. Now I'm going to do a swift loop, I'll just take it about here. And then on the underside for some of these, I'm going to take these 4 and I'm going to bring them down like that. Okay, so it gives us this overall kind of shape here, and then maybe bring it up just a little bit so it's not quite going to be dragging on the floor. There we go. Alright, now I want to adjust the curves on this, so put a swift loop in there and there, or you could just use a connect if you're not feeling too confident about your swifting loops. And there and there. Okay, and that will allow me to now take this part and just do some minor adjustments to it. So I'm going to take this and this, I'm just going to move them up a little bit, just to give a bit of curve to this shape. Like that. And now these ones here and here. Okay, that should do it. So now we've got this kind of curve up here that I needed. Now I can go into this part, and this part is where we kind of marry these parts together, as it were. So what I'm going to do is just have a look at this shape here, and do a swift loop about there, and then again here, about the same. To be honest, I can just actually, I don't know why I'm doing it that way, I'll just do it this way. There, I can just symmetry this back in just a minute. Right, now this part selected, I'm going to add another swift loop, because I don't need to go for the entire height of this. Okay, and both of these selected, but not this bottom one. I'm going to extrude it by a length of 0 and tick, and then just drag this straight out, use my scale tool and scale it back in on this y-axis, and that will just flatten it out nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to keep flattening it until it doesn't move anymore, and then I'll know it's pretty damned flat. Okay, that seems to be working okay. So now we have to come up with the shape that's going to kind of come over the top of this. So I'm going to swift loop and just go about half down this one. But I'm then going to take the edge, move the edge across to there, like that. Then if I select this one and do a ring and a connect, I should be able to start moving this one out a bit more. I need to do another connect on the top of it as well, I think. Just trying to think as I go along, because obviously there's quite a bit of stuff to do on this. There we go. Right, now what I'm going to do is grab this shape and move this shape to approximately the halfway mark. So about there. And then I'm going to take this part and delete it, take this part, go to a hinge from edge, pick my hinge and select this hinge here. You'll remember that from last time. I'm going to make it a 180-degree angle and put in 9 segments, because that should be enough for the moment. And click tick. Okay, and then undo the tragic mistake I've just made. There we go. Click tick, and then click delete. Now if I select by vertex, select all the vertices with Control A and click weld, and just increase this a teeny bit, but not too much. There we go. And that gets rid of our excess pieces that just came in there. So now we're starting to get a little control mechanism. You see, the thing is that when you're building off things that are essentially just plastic toy models, basically, you really need to work hard on coming up with a kind of a logical way for these things to actually work. I know that seems completely beyond logic, but it's true. You need to come up with a kind of a way of justifying how these things are going to be operating. Right, I'm going to bring this down just until that line there is flat. Drop back into perspective and zoom. And hit F3 again. Okay, so that just straightens out that piece. And I'm going to take this one and this one. Just delete them, because what I want to do really is kind of have all these pieces connect up, and I can't yet. I'm just coming up with new things and ways to show you, by the way, of how we do stuff like this. So I just hold shift and drag that down to there. Like so. And what I'm going to do now is select by vert and just grab this one and hit weld. There we go, and it just welds it straight together. Then I'm going to go over to here and just select a bridge. And this will only take a couple of clicks, and suddenly we should have a bridged part. There we go. Okay, so that's coming on nicely over for that. Still looking at my shapes, making sure I've got everything coming the way I want it. And I do. Okay, so I'm going to probably move this piece a little bit more, just because I can bring that out to that, and it'll kind of control that piece there. And I'm going to bring this across as well. That way we have these three polygons here, more or less even. Okay, and now I'm just kind of finagling around the model a little bit here. So what I need to do is cut out the piece that this basically alludes to going into. So I'm going to swift loop, come down here, and again on swift loop to about there. Then I'm basically going to border it like so, and do the same again at the bottom. A lot of this is kind of a dick-on where you're building the shapes and then you're tidying the shapes and then you're building the shapes again and tidying them again and so on and so on. But it gets easier over time. A lot of what you're doing is just trying to logically go around the model and think to yourself, well, is that where it should go? Is that what it should do? Is that how it should make sense? Okay, so extrude. Again, extrude by 0. And I'm just going to click tick. And that's straight out. And that way this should now sit over the top of this and over the bottom. I don't want it to come in too far, but I am going to adjust it. And then bring it back. Because at the minute I'm not too concerned about extents when it comes to kind of animation and stuff. This is stuff that I really want to be getting fixed at a later date. Now, I'm going to get rid of excess polygons that I've put into my model, there and there, like that. And just look at how this is coming along. Not badly. Okay, now, same sort of thing as we've got over there, we're going to need on this side as well. So, what I need to do here is kind of sort out these parts. And I'm just looking at my reference model, so I've got a kind of a lip that's going to be coming out around this as well, so I'll put a swift loop on here and then straighten it out by using a scale tool like so. Now I can basically go back and put my symmetry on this tool, so I hit symmetry in my modifier panel, like so, and click flip, because obviously you can see it's on the X. I want both sides, and then right click, convert to editable polygon, and that should, yep, turn all of this just into one solid piece. Okay, now I know these are the right size, so I'm going to isolate this selection now. Okay, and that gives me this, which is one part of the toe gearing system. Fun, huh? Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take this bit, just use the move tool and move it to about there. Now what I can do is select this one, and again I'm just kind of looking at this shape to see how it should go, and just do a ring and then connect. And I'm going to just save this as, just because I don't trust 3ds Max any further than I can throw it, I'll save it as my workbench WB1. There we go. If you're wondering why, trust me, you know, we all need these workbench files, they're important. Okay, now I want to select, by control select by polygon, these bits, and do an extrude by local normal. I'm going to bring this right down and click tick. Now you may notice it's somewhat rounded, okay, so if you want somewhat rounded, excellent. If you don't, bummer. You know how to not make it rounded though. It isn't the hardest process in the world, remember? There we go. Done. And I'm going to click off these two. You're going to wonder why, but don't worry, it will make sense. And just bring those in. Now I'm going to select these. Okay, like that. And see, I'm going to select this middle one as well. Yeah, okay. So I think for this, the best method to do it with will be to go straight down here and do another connect. Okay, that gives me those shapes. Now what I'm going to do next, select these and these parts here, and if I go to extrude, I'm going to just bring these straight up. Now what you want to do is bring them up about just over half the height that you would expect the overall curve at the top to be. If you're not sure, then yes, you can measure, okay? But otherwise, just go for it, man. What you got to lose? Now I'm going to select all those and just delete them like that. Now they're gone forever. And I'm going to exchange, just grab these. Now as long as I've flattened everything, this should work. So hinge edge, hit my hinge. I'll just pick any of these hinges that seems appropriate. Change this to 189 segments. Yeah, looks about right. Click tick. Then click delete. Remember. Then select by vertex and select those ones and do a weld. There we go. We've got that right. So that's jolly good. Now we have to have a piece comes through the middle. We've done this before as well, so it shouldn't be anything excitingly new to you. What we need to do is just grab this and do a cylinder. I'm going to pull my cylinder out from here. That way I can get a good width and a good length. I don't need 5 height segments, to be honest. If I need a height segment, I'll make it myself. And I shall pull this in. Now, I could spend a while kind of getting these to fit exactly and then just merging it off into one polygon or whatever the hell it is I plan on doing. Well, one element, but I'm not going to. I can't see the point, to be honest, with this kind of model. It's not designed as a game model, so having a single rather than a set of elements seems somewhat wasteful. Now I am going to right click, convert to editable polygon, and then I'm going to move these in a bit just so they're kind of bordering over the edge there. Okay, we just want to see the very edge of these, and then same again here, because then we can basically use the bevel tool to make this look nicer. Okay, now come back into this one, and I'll just press Z there, basically just to reset the zoom. That way we can get our extents right again. If I go into bevel, as long as it's going to let me like do this without being silly, we're good to go. then a 0 height bevel, bring it out a little bit, and a little bit is actually a technical measuring term. Up, through. I don't need to put a shitload of detail on the outside of this, it's just pointless. Okay, you can if you want, so if you want to go and cover it in skulls or esoteric symbols or flopping dicks, just whatever you want, you know, knock yourself out, but I'm not going to. There we go, and I've added a little rim there for when I do decide to use a bit of turbo smoothing, if I decide to use a bit of turbo smoothing, just to make my job a bit easier. Okay, now I'm going to attach that, like so, and with this done, I should be in a fair position in a moment. I'm going to just put a cylinder on this as well. Just have it come straight out into there, like that. And then I can do any adjustments I feel necessary once I end my isolate, zoom in. And I've got the full toe on here so I can kind of see exactly what's going on. So this angle here isn't correct. Have a look at that. I'll just pull this down a little bit further. I'll do it on the other side as well, that way it makes more sense. We won't end up with weird, odd stuff going on. Sorry if a lot of this is kind of floating around the screen doing things, okay, but this is what I expect you to be doing. If you want to work in the top, left, right viewports, go ahead, but that's the kind of practice they make, like those sad gits who use Mayor use. So if you don't have to work in orthographic mode, then quite frankly, why the hell should you be? So it makes your model look weird. There we go, bring that back in. Okay, so I think that's looking okay. Now then, I need to decide whether or not I'm going to turbo smooth it or whether I'm going to use some chamfering on it. So let's have a look at the options, shall we? What I'm going to do is make a quick copy of this, make it a reference, click OK. In my reference I'm going to add a open subdiv, like so, and stick 2 iterations on for the minute, just, you know, because. Okay, and I want to see what improvement the open subdiv is going to have, the open subdiv model is going to have if I use swift loops on this, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing it. Now then, I'm going to put one on here, so you can see that's came on there now. And I'm going to put one on here as well. Now if I can't get my loop right, I'll keep turning my model until I do. There we go, so that's straightened that edge nicely. Now we can see we have no few issues here. So one way to deal with it would be to basically add one there and one there. See how that looks on it. And then probably add something in here as well. Let's see what we've got. Like I say, a lot of it's kind of floating around the model. Now, if we're looking at how this is going, I'm becoming less convinced, you see, that this model is going to work particularly well for subdivision. See how the top piece is getting on. Let's hit F4, because there's so many curves and weird shapes on it. So manually doing this ourselves is probably going to be a better bet. So if I hit F4 and go back to our original model instead, see, sub D isn't always what you need. So I'm going to isolate the selection again, and that will let me go around the entire model and do the parts I need to do. So what I can do is select all these pieces one at a time like this. Now you can use the selection tools up here if you want to, but I'm going to do this manually, that way I can be sure that I'm going to get the ones that I want. So what I'm doing is I'm holding down Control and just double clicking, and that's automatically picking out the useful loops that I need. So there we go, like this. Just get the insides of this. And then the outsides of this as well would be useful, so click on that and you'll see it's gone all the way around. Now I can double click on these as well, so I need these edges. The thing is, normally when I'm doing this I tend to have to select everything that I'm going to need to select before I do the chamfering. You can't really rush off and do the chamfering later on. It doesn't kind of work that way. So you can't do one piece and then come back and do another piece and so on, because all that happens is you tend to build up your chamfers and they become enormous. Just basically like what I'd call a rat's nest almost. It's a very messy way of doing it, so don't do it that way. Select everything. If you make a mistake, too bad. Don't be afraid to use the create selection set, especially if, like, you know, you can call it T1 to show it's a temporary or whatever. So just go around your model and select everything. If you want to just do it as half the model and then, you know, put in your what do you call it, symmetry later on, then yeah, go for that too. That's up to you, but just make sure you do the job properly. It's important. And before you even think of hitting the chamfer button, do make sure that you've got all the pieces. And if you select something and nothing seems to happen, Control Z and do it again. Again, these are all little important things that, you know, make sense that a lot of people forget to do. If you're not even sure if a piece needs chamfering, then, you know, it probably does. Chamfer it anyway. Chamfering makes your model look significantly better. We've discussed that before. Okay, now I've just got this piece here to prep up. I will have more bits to chamfer once I've built the rest of the model in, but for the minute we're doing it this way. There was actually a really good auto chamfer tool. I should probably actually no, I don't really need that anymore because it's been replaced by the max tools. I might in the next one kind of show you how to use the max tools for this. Just depends how I feel really. I find them a little bit unreliable at times, so we shall see. Go around it all, up to there, and then into here. The thing is that we have the advantage really as 3D artists that we really can kind of adjust our model and add detail as much as we think is necessary. So even if we do make an error, we can cover up after ourselves. There we go, shut that door, which will make things a bit easier. Ooh, shut that door. Now there's a reference for you. Let's see which of the old 3D Palace artists can remember the reference. Shut that door and where it came from. Although to be honest, this may only be English 3D Palace members. / pirates who grabbed this off the hard bondage side. Right, so with that done, just making sure that I've got all my angles that I want selected, like this one isn't, see? It's important, which means this one won't be either. Those ones are. Okay, so I can come down now to my chamfer tool, and if I just start messing with the settings, just get it to one that I'm comfortable with. I think 0.15 was quite good last time. Still seems good this time, so just click tick. Come back, hit F4, and now you see we've got these rather nice hard edges coming into it. Okay, we've got plenty of room as well for having some good laugh fun with the rivets, which is what we always need. So now what I can do is end isolation. I go to my top viewport, just look at that. Seems fine. So what I'm going to do is grab this piece here and well, I've got a choice. I can either use symmetry or I can rotate it round. So if I was to rotate it round, I just hold shift, angle it by 90 degrees, and then, you know, do it 3 times. So make 3 copies like that, and then drop in perspective. You can see they all kind of fit together like that, right? Or I could just use the symmetry tool, so I'll show you how that's done as well, because you can use symmetry more than once. So if I was to choose symmetry and just bring this down to here, like so, and just change the axis that we're on to the y-axis and click flip, and then if I was to grab symmetry again and actually no, I can't do it that way now I think about it. I'd have to, no, never mind, ignore that. So I can do one symmetry and then I can rotate the symmetry, or I can just rotate it. So let's do it the original way that I showed you. I don't know why I thought that would work. I forgot it's not an angle. Okay, and now what I can do is select all these 4 here. So I'll make them into one object by using the attach tool. And then I'm going to select all the vertices, and I'm going to use the weld tool. And that will join all the edges together, like that. Okay, so that's a start. Now, isolate this again. And this means that I can start work now on basically joining all these parts together that need to be joined together. So, there's a couple of ways we can do this. One, we could just build a cap, which is going to be messy, to be honest. Or we can basically just start kind of linking these parts all across, down and underneath. And I think that's going to be the best way of doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by joining these fellas here up using the bridge tool. So if I go down here, bridge there to there, then there to there, and go around the entire edge of it. And I could multiple select, it's just I prefer doing it one at a time. It's just, you know, I'm old, that's the way I am. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we've got 8 in there. Now I'm going to have to join these ones together as well. So we can do the same thing again. Just come in here. And they're going to start crossing over each other immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and last one, 8. Okay, so what we've done here is we've created a kind of a complicated looking little shape, because we can't keep it like this. So what I'm going to have to do now is basically cut these off. So I've got a couple of choices. One, I can have it where it comes all the way through to the underneath, but I don't want it to do that. I want it to come to a kind of an inset section where this ends. Or 2, I can individually cut every single one of these, and I don't want to do it that way. I think that would be just the wrong way to do it. So I'm going to put in a connect, and I'm going to make 2 segments, 1, 2. Click tick. I'm going to come in here, do a connect, and have 2 segments again, like that. And now what that means is that anything in here I can basically kill. So you can either do it manually, or you can do it through multiple selects, or whichever way you want to do it. See? That gets rid of that bit there. So we've still got these, and then that bit there. Now I want to raise this part because, in my opinion, it seems a little bit low. So I think I'm going to just select those, and if I go down to my left viewport, it'll be a bit easier, because the angle is really tight on those. Just lift it straight up. There, that's much better. Okay, and now my top view, where this is. If I come in here like this, I can now use my scale tool just to begin bringing these in, whilst at the same time avoiding any nasty overlaps. There we go, maybe a bit further, there we are, like that. Now an easy way of clearing this piece will be that if I get a cylinder and bring it out from the middle and then straight up like that. Okay, ensure that it's central. If you're not sure if it's central, just for God's sakes take your time and do what you can. I am going to now round this to 36. Convert to editable polygon. Now if I take this piece and I go over here to my compound objects, pro boolean, start picking this operand here, right click out, convert to editable poly, and we now have a good shape and size for this. See? However, in order to make it even better, what we really need, if I just go down here and hide this, is we need these edges to come in as well. So, easy way of doing it here, because we don't have to dig around, is if I go into my bridge tool, you just bridge straight across like that, and like that, and that, and that, and then if I select the border tool, Control A and cap, okay, we get that, which is kind of messy, but that's okay, because we're going to unhide all, and that will unhide that big fella that just came through there as well. Just there. Bring that straight up. Now what I'm going to do is ensure it goes all the way through this, select here, and I'm going to, why the hell is Steam on again? Right, that's gone. What I'm going to do is select that and do a pro boolean. Start picking that one, right click, convert to editable poly because it's gone. Okay, so that worked fairly well. We have this nice shape here, so now it's time to refine it a bit. So I'm going to isolate it again, if I can. There we go. Okay, and to start selecting parts that I need. So you'll notice we've already got these ones here selected. So I'm just going to chamfer these nicely, make them a bit rounder. 1, 2, let's see how it's doing it down here. Only a little bit murdered. Yeah, I think we better keep the chamfers smaller on that one. There we go. Just a small chamfer now on the outside edge here. By the way, you'll notice that our model's been kind of cleaned up when we did the Pro Boolean. It's got rid of quite a lot of the bits that, when I converted back to editable poly, weren't really necessary, which is a great help with Pro Boolean. Max Boolean used to be kind of the clown shoes of the 3D world, so it's nice to see that it's got itself together a little bit more now than it used to. Just unfortunately all our loops are gone now. So just go around the edge. And again, like I say, just make sure you get the correct edge when you do this. And if you move something, put it back. Right, chamfer. 1, then a smaller one inside it, like that, and then if I can, I would like to triple chamfer it just to give it a really nice curved edge, like so. There we go. Okay, that's a nice curve. Now on the bottom here, I've already got the chamfer sorted out on the inside, so forget this edge, and woohoo, double clicking galore. This is my select tool for this. It's quite fascinating how the Pro Boolean tool kind of simplifies down your model. Like I say, it's a lot better than it used to be. And don't be tempted to Control A to select all your edges, thinking that if you chamfer all of them, that'll look good. That is a very bad idea. I remember like trying that myself a long time ago and thinking, oh yeah, I'll do that. That's a good way to save time. And I even put in a tutorial, as I recall, and it was, I had to spend hours and hours tidying up my model about 3 steps down the line once I'd lost all of my undos naturally. So yeah, don't do that. Nearly there. Look at that, there we go. Now I can chamfer it. And again, you know, can I chamfer it wide? Well, yes, it would appear I can. Just do it slowly. There we go. And that's chamfered. Now we can come back and have a look at this and see how it came out. Not badly, actually, not badly. Now I'm going to convert it to again. And then from editable poly I'm going to apply a smooth modifier to it, just for my benefit really, as much as anything. And then I'm going to auto smooth it down to just 25, should be enough. That'll clean the inside as well. Convert to editable polygon. And end isolate. Okay, and now we're genuinely starting to get somewhere, I think, so that's nice. Pleased about that. Hide selection. Actually no, unhide selection. Come back here, because I think this is something that would probably be quite useful to have on the top of this. So let's go to our placement tool, and the object we want is going to be you. And I'm going to paint it on my seam, so I can paint it on anything here. You're not the right piece, are you? Paint with object in a list. God damn it. There, that's better. Now I'm going to change my scale on this. 25 seems appropriate. Nice, so I can paint details straight onto there if I want to. Just like the idea of being able to control some nice detail in this. And here. There we go. So there's some nice bolt details in there. And if I don't think they're the right size, that's not a problem, because I can increase their size or decrease them. That seems to work actually. So there we go, 34% is the one. Close that down, right click out, and I'm going to go to attach. I'm just going to attach all of these fellas here. Or ladies. Could be ladies. Probably not ladies. Right, now I'm going to hit delete, because you may have seen me do this before, and if you haven't, then you probably missed an important part of the tutorial, to be fair. I'm going to go down here and select by edge, and by bridge, and by bridge, and by edge. 1, 2, 3. I remember a friend of mine once describing to me just how complicated the code that would need to be written to do this very simple looking function would be, and it quite frankly blew my mind. So, you know, I don't have many good things to say, to be honest, about the 3D industry. But frankly, some of the throwaway tools like this that people use all the time are just so massively powerful. Okay, now I'm going to go into border mode, cap. Well, that didn't work very well, did it? It thinks that's the border. Eesh. Well, there's only one way to solve this. Allow me to demonstrate. There we go. And now we have a properly bridged piece. That doesn't look right there, so I'm going to go back and do this bit again because I don't trust this model. Funny, the cap bridge never works properly, to be fair. If necessary, I can always just build the entire content of this area by hand, but I do prefer not to. It takes a while. And it would be quite a dull bit of the tutorial. Even more dull than the bits where I'm just talking incessant shit. Right, get out of bridge. Should be able to cap that now. And don't group cap them, it's too easy for the rather complicated algorithm that I was previously discussing to make a rather sad mistake. And like I say, unless you know what to look for in the mistakes, like for me, I noticed the top of my pieces here hadn't gone on properly, then you could end up having to correct it a long time down the line. Right, let's see, that looks good, in my humble opinion. So again, I'm going to stick another smooth on this. Auto 25. I click, convert to editable polygon, zoom out. Okay, that's coming along quite nicely. Now let's have a look in here, because I need to add some more bits onto this as we go. So, in the next part, I'm going to continue working on the foot. I'm going to go up and up until we get as far as the ball joint on the ankle, and then we've got some quite complicated parts to build on from that. So, if you enjoyed that, groovy. If you haven't enjoyed that, bummer. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, TTFN.